Hi, I'm in Emerald, which is on the Central Highlands, and it's a mining town too. And it's one of the common things with mining towns is that there's no real downturn that's affecting the rural region. Mining is great for regional Queensland. It really diversifies the economy. So now I want to address the second topic that the CFMMEU letter covered. And it's something very dear to my heart: safety. As an underground coalface miner, and later as a mine official on shift, and as a mine manager and mining executive, I have a proven history of working with miners and mining union delegates. New Zealand, in America, and here in Australia, in Western New South Wales, the Hunter Coast, the Lower Hunter around Lake Macquarie, where I developed enough trust in the workforce to make significant changes industrially and in work practices. In the Upper Hunter, here in central Queensland, we actually lived in Emerald. Our first child was born in Emerald. And here I led the introduction of our nation's first radically different enterprise award. And it was based on understanding and meeting miners' needs with entitlements and responsibilities decades ahead of their time. It was based on a study tour around Australia and America and on my own experience. And I included miners and tradesmen and also union delegates from the Queensland level on that delegation, where we researched other countries and other companies. In developing that unique award 30 years ago, it was very satisfying working with the state CFMMEU vice presidents, Jim Lambley and Ray Barker, who I remember fondly. Let's start safety by discussing something the union letter did not mention: a proper foundation for safety, a safety philosophy. I believe safety saves money and increases production and improves profit. Accidents, including near misses, cost money and production. That's why preventing accidents reduces costs and increases production. Safety saves money and maximizes profit. Safety is not the enemy of production. Safety enables production. Around 2008, I publicly called out the Queensland Chief Inspector of Coal Mines when he said in public that mines had to balance safety or production. They had to balance them. And I called it out, and he admitted that I was correct. Safety gets production. But sadly, that safety or production mentality exists in so many coal miners, so many unions, so many companies, so many mine managements. 30 years later, after we pioneered that, people still have not entrenched that throughout the mines. Sadly, that needs to continue. And I've had trouble getting that message through to executives and mine managers, even when we show them the benefits up front. We need to stop union bosses and some companies saying safety or production, because safety increases production and profits. Making mines safer makes them more productive. And my experience in America with modern longwalls has shown that repeatedly right across that country and in Australia. Every mine I managed as a manager improved its safety, and safety was my top priority, and that's something I entrenched. As a general manager here in Emerald, in the mine here, I wore overalls that had a large embroidered sign across my back saying, "Safety is our top priority." So why did I do that? It's because I wanted anyone and everyone to hold me personally accountable, walk up to me underground, if someone, especially someone in a leadership position, was not putting safety as a top priority. At that mine, we measured many things, not just incidents and not just near misses. We measured a whole heap of contributing factors, and we also measured positive, proactive safety initiatives to drive positive behaviours. And weekly, we celebrated at the senior levels of that mine and right throughout the mine safety initiatives and achievements. And I personally reviewed every incident. Every team leader and every official in our mine was under instruction to notify me around the clock, 24 hours a day, of any first aid treatment, even a small cut to a thumb or a finger that needed first aid treatment in an underground first aid station, and then answer my questions. So I got calls at 2 o'clock in the morning from people underground because they just had first aid treatment, no matter how minor, because safety starts with leadership's commitment. So I've done it, underground, on the job. So let's get to some specifics that the union does raise. The Grosvenor Mine Board of Inquiry. I support it. I made a submission. Even though I'm a federal senator, I covered many aspects, including casual workers, contractors being silenced or being afraid to raise safety issues. People must be free to speak up. That's good leadership. I also raised the issue of supporting increased representation of contractors and casuals on safety committee. Casuals need a voice, the State Safety Committee. I can't make any further comment until the outcomes of the Grosvenor Board of Inquiry are made public. The second issue that they raised, the union raised, extension of industrial manslaughter to the mining industry. We support that. People should be held accountable. Another issue that was raised, black lung. My grandfather in Wales died from black lung. His son, my father, as Chief Inspector of Coal Mines here in Queensland, introduced pioneering legislation that vastly improved underground mine ventilation standards in our state, right across our state, and eradicated black lung. Years later, just recently when black lung re-emerged, Joanne Miller, the only fair dinkum Labor MP in State Parliament at the time, she's since resigned, she came to me while a member of Parliament in the Labor Party for advice when she co-chaired an inquiry into black lung with Lawrence Springborg. Joanne Miller involved One Nation's Steve Andrew, who supported her on the issue. Now, Joanne earned my respect and continues to have my respect because she is genuine, honest, and courageous. She went against the Queensland state Labor machine. She's old Labor. She cares about workers, just like One Nation. My position on black lung is based on my experience as a coalface miner in 5 regions across Australia and as a mine official, mine manager and mining executive over 35 years. And an experience overseas in many countries as a mining engineer, as a manager, as a consultant assisting executives to turn around mines and improve leadership and improve work practices and particularly to improve safety. The primary responsibility for safety and black lung is with the employer and mine owner because they are responsible for work systems and processes and they're responsible for shaping and leading and driving the workplace culture and whether or not people speak up. I remember Matt Best fondly. He's no longer with us, but Matt Best was a coach of mine in football here in central Queensland, and he was also very, very well known and respected by management, union bosses and workers right across Queensland as the best check inspector they had. He worked for the CFMMEU, he worked for miners, and he also helped management. And he called out everyone. He called out management, he called out union bosses, he called out workers if they were not complying with safety standards. Later, as a mine manager, mine under manager on shift, I stopped production if places were not properly stone dusted and ventilated. Again, I stopped men working in dust. Miners knew that. And the same as a mine manager. As a mine official, mine manager and general manager, I have stopped production and instructed workers not to work in dust. Genuine underground workers know that teamwork is the key to success in terms of safety and productivity in coal, especially underground where we work in tight-knit teams. Everyone has responsibilities for individual safety and health and for other people's safety and health by working together. I love the mateship of working underground, the teamwork. Now, I learned teamwork playing rugby league and rugby union here in central Queensland and elsewhere, including the Hunter. And I learned it from working in pillars, extracting pillars underground, long walls, and in solids development. And I've used my position in Parliament to fight for workers and for the federal industrial relations and state safety systems that have been abandoned and miners that have been abandoned by these systems that are no longer working satisfactorily. And I invite people to watch my speeches in Parliament, recorded on video, and to watch Steve Andrews' speeches in the State Parliament. The next topic I want to cover is dust monitoring and medical examinations that the union says need to be investigated and miners are short of accuracy and integrity. If that needs a return to independent dust monitoring, I would support that. We would support independent dust monitoring and stronger safety inspections. But it must be based on data and facts. and everyone doing their bit to improve safety and dust compliance. We'll get rid of black lung in Australia's industry again. I want to talk about the Hunter Valley, and I'll talk more about this later on in another video. But right now I just want to say that I've been openly critical of the safety and health regime in New South Wales, in federal parliament and in public. And I'm asking serious questions about the safety and health regime in Queensland. And I've proposed solutions, basic solutions. So in wrapping up on safety, One Nation supports evidence-based and data-driven policies to improve safety. That will improve productivity, security, and worker retention and satisfaction. Sadly, in coal and other industries, some players sometimes attempt to make safety a political or industrial football for political or industrial bargaining relations an advantage. Safety is too important for that. Evidence-based, not emotionally hijacked safety is what helps people. One Nation supports evidence-based and data-driven policies to improve safety.